well. What happened in Bush-Nader-Gore was that Nader actually drew equally from Democrats and Republicans, and you can look this up on the web in the exit polls that were done by CNN and other reputable organizations. Nader did not just take, he did not just take votes from Democrats. He drew equally from Republicans, but that was only a very small portion of his vote. Most of his votes actually came from Ross Perot voters who had voted independent and who were not going to come out and vote for either a Democrat or a Republican. So it's absolutely false to say that Nader stole the election. It was the Supreme Court that stole the election. Democrats, I might add, who refused to challenge and to stand up to the Supreme Court. The Democrats lost more votes to Republicans in that race than Nader got in his entire voting bloc. So it's just preposterous to blame the loss of the Democrats on Ralph Nader. So it's absolutely nonsense. That campaign of fear is intended to stop you from standing up and voting on your own behalf. They want to tell you to go to the polls and use your vote as a weapon against yourself. And we are refusing to do that. And in fact, what we're calling for is not exercising this politics of fear, but instead rejecting that politics of fear. In fact, it has brought us everything we were afraid of. And you can tell that to your friends who want you to practice the politics of fear. In fact, it's delivered the expanding war, the meltdown of the climate, the Wall Street bailout, the expanding free trade agreements. They all have gone ballistic under the Democrats because the voice of the public interest was silenced by that campaign of fear. Fear and silence are not an effective political strategy. It's time to replace the politics of fear with the politics of courage, as the Occupy movement is doing, as the Chicago teachers strike is doing, as those tree sitters in Texas are doing to stop the Keystone Pipeline. Right here in Washington State to stop the coal train from coming to It's all about that politics of courage. That politics of courage is alive and well out in the streets. It's time to bring it into the voting booth, because that alliance of a social movement together with an independent political voice is unstoppable. That has been the driving force in just about every major political, social transformation, in the abolition of slavery, in women getting the right to vote, in the labor movement. These have always been hard fights fought on the street, then leveraged and powered up by an independent political voice that can help articulate that agenda and drive it into the political mainstream. So whether we win the office or we simply win the day by moving these solutions forward, it's a win no matter what. And if we stand up, we can turn this breaking point we face into the tipping point we need to take back our democracy and the future we deserve. A couple just final comments about how we can do that. You know, if you go on the website, you go to jillstein.org, you can go on Twitter, which is just Jill Stein 2012, or Facebook, which is just Jill Stein. Those are the really powerful tools. That's what brought us Tahrir Square. That's what brought us the revolution in Tunisia. Just young people basically getting out there on social media and saying, we're not going to let our future be destroyed. We are going to take it back. So it's networking. If you sign up to volunteer, if you have a couple hours, you can help with phone banking or canvassing or visibility. or getting the word out on the internet. If you go to our website and sign up for the newsletter, that's a really good way to forward it to your email network and to help people know. Because, and if you can make a contribution, you can do that on the website too. So, excuse me, that's where we are, you know. We're at the tipping point, and we're going to tip one way or the other. So far, we've been accelerating in the wrong direction, but it's a big wake-up moment, and it's time for us to stand up and be counted and be heard and change the direction of history. If we win the White House, we'll turn it into a greenhouse and the world will be a better place for it. But we can also win the day, short of winning the office, and build for that day. Because if you've noticed, the Democrats and Republicans do not have a single exit strategy on the table, not one, from the critical crises that we're facing. It's all more of the same and worse than the same. That's what the choices are. Neither is acceptable. So more and more people will continue to be driven into our camp. I urge you, you know, this doesn't stop on November 6th. November 6th is the jumping off point. If we win the election, we're going to need your help more than ever. If we don't win the election, we're going to need your help more than ever. We have a crisis on our hands, no matter whether it's Romney or Obama. I've lived under Mitt Romney for 4 years. It was absolutely indistinguishable when he passed the baton to Deval Patrick, who was the poster child for the Democratic Party governor. So not much difference to be found. They both said